First revealed at 2021's Tokyo Game Show, Wanted Dead follows cyborg cop Lieutenant Hannah Stone as she scissor kicks her way through hordes of brain-dead goons against the backdrop of an anime-inspired sci-fi Hong Kong. She's heavily armoured too. Her savage medley of swords and guns are put to good use in eye-popping combo attacks, culminating in bloody, brutal executions, rife with dismemberment and point-blank headshots that'll surely provide extreme satisfaction to pull off. This third-person single-player action-adventure is clearly laced with oodles of humour too, which is just as well, seeing as the viciousness of Lieutenant Stone's blood-splattering attacks could turn a few stomachs if presented earnestly. As it happens, gore of this type is so overwhelmingly gratuitous that it's closer to cartoon, reduced to caricature almost. Thus, when taken in combination with humour, the gameplay becomes an exercise in absurdity. Its leg-slicing executions and ping-ponging decapitations are surely designed as satisfactory rewards for overcoming tough enemies. The result then, above all else, is that playing Wanted Dead just seems like it'll be incredible fun. A blast, even. Furthermore, a game which doesn't take itself too seriously like Wanted Dead could be just the tonic to counteract the burnout felt after completing a seemingly never-ending open-world odyssey, or the grief that lingers after playing the latest emotionally impactful indie experience. In an interview with GamingBolt, Wanted Dead publisher 110 Industries creative director Sergei Kolobashkin stated the development team are concocting a large quantity of finishing moves with which to equip players. Clearly, they're motivated by style and visual pizzazz. They're designing combat that'll look as great on screen as it is satisfying to execute. Together with developer Soleil, Wanted Dead's newly minted publishers come packed with legendary pedigree too. They're a team comprising devs who've previously worked on Ninja Gaiden and Dead or Alive, with the former brands of challenging hack-and-slash combat a clear touchstone in Lieutenant Stone's violent encounters. Fighting game Dead or Alive's emphasis on slick combos is present and correct too, as Hannah's athletic ability to chop down foes with nothing but her limbs appears unrestricted by recovery time. Seamlessly scything between enemies is the main draw here then. Unimpeded combat, clearly the magic ingredient to ensure a memorable and enjoyable experience. That isn't to say that players can brute force their way through encounters, settling on their favourite weapon for the entirety of the game's runtime. No. Gameplay will require mastery of the game's various combat systems. Harnessing a blend of hand-to-hand melee, sidearms, guns, and swordplay is crucial to success. As a result, the experience 110 Industries are pushing is touted as much more interesting than straight-up button mashing, with deeper, more technical gameplay requiring players spend time learning and executing their skills for a much more unforgettable experience. The game has a heavy focus on story too, with a narrative set to follow Lieutenant Stone and her elite Hong Kong police zombie squad, a specialist unit working outside the traditional boundaries of the police force. During a week they're tasked with uncovering a major corporate conspiracy. Hannah will split her time between chilling with her pet cat and ploughing through a host of military contractors, mercenaries and street gangs on her way to unspooling the game's narrative threads. The gameplay trailers we've seen so far also hinted a mystery surrounding the origin of our heroine protagonist too, as if there's an untold truth at the heart of her existence. Perhaps she's unaware that she's a synthetic cyborg. That'd be a narrative arc lifted straight out of Blade Runner, of course, but with high-ranking NPCs wondering whether Lieutenant Stone knows the truth and speculating on what might happen should she find out the nature of things, then it doesn't seem too much of a stretch to assume that there are question marks surrounding her origin. Elsewhere, the game's anime-inspired narrative featuring elite police units, synthetic lifeforms, and cyborgs immediately recalls the iconic manga series Ghost in the Shell, in which its main character, Major Motoko Kusanagi, is a powerful cyborg whose cyber brain is constantly under threat from highly skilled hackers. There's certainly potential for cybercrime to be a narrative thrust in Wanted Dead's story. It's an enduring trope of cyberpunk fiction, of course. But Ghost in the Shell's setting of fictional Japanese city Nihama bears more than a passing resemblance to Wanted Dead's vision of a near-future dystopian Hong Kong too. For the record, 110 Industries creative director Sergei Kolobashkin cites Wanted Dead's version of Hong Kong as populated by a host of eccentric characters, bosses and squadmates. So potentially, it'll be the game's NPCs that'll add believability to its near-future high-tech society bearing the dystopian brunt of collapse. Ghost in the Shell hasn't been explicitly stated as influence, though. The cyberpunk anime touchstones mentioned by Kolobashkin in that aforementioned GamingBolt interview include Cyber City Oedo 808 and Dominion Tank Police. The influence of the latter especially isn't limited to the flashes of mech combat and battle droids seen in Wanted Dead's most recent gameplay trailer, which, by the way, we don't have an affirmative explanation for just yet, but tackling the sheer scale of mechanized opponents looks like an exciting boss encounter. But also in its tackling of serious subject matter surrounding ecological disaster and societal collapse, albeit delivered as shiny popcorn guilty pleasure. Wanted Dead is absolutely looking to replicate the same lowbrow feeling of explosive action movie, and that's a good thing, by the way. There are certainly shades of Sunset Overdrive and much maligned cult 2009 third-person shooter Wet in Wanted Dead's gameplay revealed so far too. For all the talk of interesting narrative and vibrant backdrop in this feature, it's the super fun gameplay which will make or break this game. Those similar titles just mentioned all exhibit relentlessly free-flowing, highly stylized combat, with perhaps their narrative elements taking a back seat in favor of action. In that regard, Wanted Dead's similarly styled combat doesn't appear to reinvent the wheel, and it'd be unfair to pass comment on its narrative merits with the game unreleased. But to be honest, the game doesn't need profundity if it feels great to play. With Lieutenant Stone's breakneck pace, her rapid 1-2 dash punch kick grapple throw finisher, Soleil and 110 Industries look to be tapping into something special. A game that'll be endlessly entertaining, unmuddled by lengthy skill trees, unbloated by a humongous open world, just pure end-to-end carnage. The degree of eccentricity on display in the trailers is intriguing too. In between gameplay and in-game cutscenes, there are flashes of anime and live-action sequences, and clips from contemporary cooking show tie-in Vivienne's Late Night Chow, starring Metal Gear Solid 5's Stephanie Jewston, no less. Instead of these elements feeling disjointed or disparate, they seem more like parts of a whole, like they'll effortlessly coalesce during playthrough. How they'll tie into the game's story arc remains to be seen, but they're certainly arousing interest. Wanted Dead is coming in Q4 2022 to PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X and S, and PC, which you can wishlist via Steam now. So what are your thoughts on this? Go ahead and share them in the comments below. And if you like this video, please subscribe to the channel and enable all notifications by clicking the bell icon to get new video updates. We upload every day and would really appreciate your support. Thanks for watching.